they are free from the self-placed chains that I think that generationally African Americans have on them. Um, we African Americans I think, is a unique breed universally, because not only were they enslaved, because lots of people have been enslaved, lots of people, but very few people. I don't know if you would look at this from a historical or anthropological or wherever the word is, but very few people in world history have ever completely had their sense of self stripped away. You take a person and you strip all of who they are, all of what makes them unique. You tear that away from them, and they lose. I think what the quality in all humans that gives us drive, that gives us actual freedom, that gives us vision to see beyond this moment. I remember a day when we were free. I remember the stories of my free ancestors. We lost all of that. We didn't even have those stories. That stuff was purposely taken away. Language, culture, stories, everything. And without that, I think that unless we rise up and recreate our own stories, either rediscover or create new stories, which some African Americans are doing that now, or some Black Americans, however you want to frame that, are doing that now, are creating new stories. I think Whoopi Goldberg is a one, Denzel Washington, Morgan Freeman, whose politics I don't necessarily agree with, and Bill Cosby. Some of these guys, and even some of these, people on campus, they are creating new stories which will allow them to assert a new freedom that many of us don't have.
Let me ask you this. So you are, a large part of your identity is your race.
Yeah.
And that said, you find yourself, you're a student, you're a black student.
Yeah.
There's something about it. Let me ask about the post-traumatic stress. We'll get into the history and that later. But you got the flashbacks and the dreams and all that shit. Are you a black guy with this mental problem, or are you a guy, you're just a person who's getting...
Wow. That's a damn good question. Wow. I would have to say I'm a black guy with it. With PTSD. I'm a black guy with PTSD. When I have dreams, when I have nightmares, sometimes that is still bound up in it. That my color is still bound up in it. My race is still bound up in it. Really, even within the dreams, sometimes it is. I think every once in a while, this is going to be a weird sentence. On a good day, my dreams are I'm just a guy. I'm just a guy. On a good day, I'm just a guy. But I don't recall having too many good days like that. Most of the time, I would have to say that I'm still a black guy with PTSD, and my symptoms are bound up in that. It's quite insidious. It's horrible. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. Well, maybe on my worst enemy, but on most people, I wouldn't wish it on them.
So talk to me about some of the crap. What are some of the more... I'm from Detroit, right? So we had 3 homicides in my high school senior year. So I'm from the intestines.
Yeah.
And I love it, and I'm damn proud of it. I'm a white guy, I'm a Detroiter.
Yeah.
Right? So I've seen shit. And I lived in some... Anyway. Talk to me about some of the stuff that's affected your life. What's some of the shit that's hurt you?
maybe I'll go deeper later, but I would say like um, the first time I personally knew racism, I was in this school. I was the only black. No, my sister and I was the only black in this grade school, and in my class I was the only black in this class, and we had this substitute teacher. Now, everybody knows kids. You know, substitute teacher means it's have fun, mess with the teacher. You know, that's it's a free day. You know, and we had this one kid, Rodney, I think was his name. He was the class prankster. The teacher went on a break, and you know these teachers back then they used to sit on these. I always remember I used to want one of these so bad. These green cushions. It had the webbing on it. These green cushions. Rodney thought it'd be a good idea to put these tacks under it. You know, I mean, he very carefully unzipped it and he put these tacks under it. The teacher comes back in, sits down on it, jumps up, screams, ah! The whole class busts out laughing. And I didn't have good control at that time in my life, so I'm laughing along with everybody else. Teacher's enraged. Who did this? Who did it? Who did it? You know, and she's trying to figure it out, and everybody's clamming up. All right. Teacher looks out. She looks at all the students, and she, you know, picks, you know, did you do that? And of course the kid was. Then she came to me, you know, did you do this? And I said, no, I didn't. I was raised, you know, to respect authority. You don't lie to authority. You don't lie to your elders. You tell the truth. I'm a kid though. She asked, well, who did it? She wants me to rat. You don't rat. I mean, so you know, I got two opposing, you know, things going here. You know? And so I refused to say. She says, you know who did it. You know who did it. And I wouldn't say. And her eyes, I mean, it's like in my child's mind, I can see these red eyes, blood, just like she's looking at me, and she says, "You lying nigger, you did that." This was a teacher. I was in third grade. That moment sticks with me, stays with me. I can see it as plain as I see you right now. I can still feel it. As I say it, as I recall it, that little boy wants to cry again. I was never the same. My life was never the same. At that, I never knew, you know. I was the prince of the family. I was the youngest, my mama's favorite, the joy to my mother, the scourge to my brothers. And I never got spankings, you know. But in that moment, I was less than human, and I knew it. And I never forgot it. I never forgot what it felt like. And I think that sometimes, to this day, I don't think it, I know it, that I'm still adversely affected by that, and that it does affect the way that I see other people sometimes. It affects the way I interact with people. I never forgot that pain. I have never forgot it. I've tried to let go of it. I've tried to run from it, try to hide from it, but I've never been able to shake it. I would say probably more than top two most hurtful things that ever happened to me, top three most hurtful things that ever happened to me, that had the most adverse effect of my overall life was that moment.
Can you give us some examples of how that stuck with you?
For a long time, you know, and I would say probably even still today, you know, I kind of wonder, you know, when I'm talking to a white person, what do they really think? What is it that they see when they look at me? You know, do they see me? Or do they see a nigger? Uh, you're constantly questioning people I mean, a certain amount of questioning is good, but constantly it becomes pathological, becomes unhealthy. You know, while you're busy questioning, you're not getting to know a person. You're getting to know your questions better. That's all, you know, and you're missing out on the moment. You know, you might miss some beautiful moments. You know, some beautiful moments are flying right past you because you're stuck on stupid asking questions. You know, you're questioning this moment, this beautiful moment. I had a girlfriend, the first woman I ever fell in love with, half Japanese, half Irish, Pauline O'Reilly. Met her in Japan. We're good friends to this day. In fact, I was emailing her last night, and I remember when we were first together. There was times that she'd be in bed asleep, and I'd be lying next to her, and I'd be looking at her, and I would wonder, you know, who does she see when she looks at me? What is it that she sees? Does she see a man? Does she see Anthony? Or does she see that nigger? What is it? I've never been able to totally shake it, you know? I don't believe in hate. I really don't. Hate has very little, I mean, it can be utilized, you know, in a way, you know, for something good. It can be, I suppose. But generally speaking, in the most broadest sense, hate has practically zero positive, you know, qualities to it. And I can say that I pretty much hate that. I pretty much hate what that teacher did to me. I pretty much hate the way that I internalized it. I hate everything about it, you know.
I've traveled too a lot, and I've lived. You give me a really interesting perspective, guy. You really are, and I'd like to think that I've spent a lot of time with Africans and African Americans and blah blah blah. I've done it, but you're succeeding at providing what it's like to be on the inside as a minority. And I've been a minority living in Asia. I've been a minority living in Eastern Europe and Africa, but I'm always the privileged minority.
Yeah.
I'm always in the, you know, even when I'm a minority in Zimbabwe, but I'm one of the rich guys.
Yeah.
So I'm not.
Mzungu.
Yeah. I mean, we say the Zimbos, the black Zimbo operators say white is right.
Yeah.
White is right, man, and that's how they think. So it's easy for me, and I've never been on the other side of it. And that you said you may go deeper later. That was actually very deep, and that was those things that happened to us as kids. The past is never dead. In fact, it's never even past. The past isn't past.
Yeah.
It's there every friggin' day.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah.
But I need to ask two other stuff. And Diana shared some of it with me. And how these things, you said it's one of the two or three things, worst things. And I need to have you tell me some stories. Because then we're going to try to talk about the flashbacks and the kind of